Hey guys, today we are doing a live step-by-step build. This is going to be the voice RAG agent, so using ElevenLabs, using N8N, and then using Pinecone. The agent in N8N is going to be able to access that Pinecone vector database and pull back data, which is going to be triggered by us talking to a voice agent in ElevenLabs, and we'll be able to talk to it in real time. So, cool. Couple prerequisites here. N8N, of course. Then we've got ElevenLabs, so this is where we'll be making our agent in here. I'm going to set up a new one and show you guys like how that works. Pinecone is where we're going to be accessing the actual database that we're going to be chatting with today. And then just the actual information. So in this case, I had ChatGPT write up some example customer support policies and FAQs. This is what we're going to be chatting with today. I think this is also maybe what I did in one of the demos. Actually, the YouTube video, I think I did like projects. But in this case, we're doing customer support policies and FAQs. So those are the prereqs. If you wanted to like follow along, then I'd get that stuff set up real quick. I'll show you guys also in Pinecone. If you haven't ever set up a Pinecone, we can do that real quick as well. But I don't know if you guys wanted to follow along and do it or just kind of watch. So I'm going to hop into it now. Cool. So first things first, let's do Pinecone. Go to pinecone.io, sign up. It's going to be free. You don't have to put in a card. You can, from the start, I don't think I can move that. I can move this though. Okay, anyway, so from here, you're going to probably hit right here, create index. You'll create an index. You can name that whatever you want. In my case, I just named it sample, as you can see. A couple things you're going to want to do. Generate an API key, which you'll be able to get to on this left-hand side. I wish I could move this thing. There, I can. Cool. So API keys is right there. These are my API keys that we plug into N8N. So generate it, give it a name. If you lose it or forget it, don't worry, you can just create more. So that's one. Then within your index, actually, let me show you guys something. So when you're creating your index, let's see. You're gonna give it a name. You've got different options here as far as like the embedding models you're gonna do. I would go with text embedding 3 small here. It's gonna be an OpenAI embedding model. It's just gonna be the one you wanna just set up and just for these testing purposes. If you're looking for kind of what that means and what the embeddings look like, that's kind of just like the array of the numbers that represent your vector. So in the deep dive vector database course, I talk about that a little bit. Basically, just how the data gets turned from text into numerical format to be put into that multi-dimensional space in the vector database. So go with embedding 3 small, give it a name, serverless, choose your cloud provider. I pretty much just stick with all the defaults, and from there I create the index. Once you have your index, you can click into it. This is what it looks like. We have no information in here yet, so this is when we vectorize it in N8N. It's going to go here. We've got our namespaces option where we can put in the namespace. We'll also do that here as well. But at this point, you can see we're set up. So this is kind of some information about our vector database. Because we chose embedding 3 small, these are the dimensions of our vectors. But cool. So we've got Pinecone set up. We've got our database set up. What we're going to do now is, we actually need to make another workflow. So this one will be, actually, no, we don't. We can do it here. So cool. Let's grab a test manually trigger. The first part of this workflow we're going to be building out is just putting the data into Pinecone. And this is going to be I've done like a live RAG sort of Pinecone vectorization process video. That's also going to be, it's a step-by-step build. So I won't spend too much time here going into like what really is going on in every single step, but hopefully it will still make sense. What we're going to do here is we're going to grab a Google Drive. So if we go down to Google Drive, the first thing we want to do is pretty much just download a file. So from our account we've connected, we have a file as the resource. We're going to try to download it. And then what we're looking for is this one called Customer Support Policies and FAQs. So let's grab that from file. Let me just refresh this. I'm just going to have to re-sign in here. Okay, so we just got that connected. Let's back out of here now, and we should be able to choose our file, which is customer support policies and FAQs, and we'll just hit test step. So let's actually download file. We'll hit test step, and we should see our document coming in here. Here we go. So we've got it as binary data. This is important to keep in mind. In this case, we're just going to be pushing it straight through as binary, so we're good to go here. And now we can just add our Pinecone. So Pinecone Vector Store, we have some different options here. What we're going to do is obviously add document to Vector Store. You got to connect your Pinecone account, so all you need to put in here is an API key. That's the one that I told you on the left-hand side over here. You'll grab your API key, paste that into there, hit save, it'll go green. And then now we can choose how to actually insert documents. So because as you remember over here, we have binary data. It's not JSON, it's not, this kind of stuff. It's binary. So we're gonna choose our index, and then we have to configure how we're gonna load this data. And that's where it comes into play of remembering that it's binary. So our index is sample, that's the one I set up. And then we have to choose a namespace. So if you don't put anything in here, it would vectorize your data in your index as default. So it would go into this namespace that's called default. But what we're going to do is set up a namespace because we're looking for FAQs. So I'm going to call it FAQs. And then we're good to go on this. Setting up the embeddings model. If you remember, in Pinecone we set up with OpenAI text embedding 3 small. So we're going to grab an OpenAI embedding. We're going to change this to embedding 3 small. By default, it already is there, and we don't need to add any options. This is just going to be embedding the data. So once we hit run, you'll understand this process a little better. But now we need to actually load the data in. So by default, this will be JSON. It wouldn't work if we did this because, like I said, if we click on JSON for the input, nothing's coming in. So this is where we want to switch this to binary because it's actually going to process binary data and load it in. So for now, we'll just leave everything as is as well. And then finally, we need to choose how we're going to split up the data. Chunk size 100 or 1,000, so it's going to be chunking after every 1,000 tokens and then split that in basically as one vector. It's going to have an overlap of 0, which is, here's a vector, there's no overlap, but we could have overlap if we want to keep some context there. So in this case, let's just go 200 overlap and we'll just go 600 chunk size. That's just kind of off the cusp. Part of the process of like RAG and validating the RAG at the end is we kind of play around with different chunking sizes and different overlaps to see how it's coming back, how it's working. But for now, we're good with just sticking with this, and it should be okay, especially with the data that we're pushing through right now. But test workflow, we can see it's going to get loaded, it gets split, and then once it's split into, in this case, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 total vectors. The 7 total vectors then get embedded. And then as you can see, the output of this is 7 different items where we have the actual content in each vector and then metadata like, source, blob type, all this kind of stuff. This is where we could add metadata, and we would do that in the loader process of when we're loading data right here, metadata. So we can add different properties, but we didn't do that in this case, so it's just going to be the default. And if we hop back into Pinecone, we have a new namespace that we created, FAQs, 7 records. And then in the browser, we could actually see what they are. So these are our 7 vectors. The text of each, this first one is, can I change or cancel my order? Orders can be changed or canceled within 24 hours. Down here, we have what payment methods do you accept? So this is how it got chunked up and split up, as you can see. Cool, okay. So now that we have that, we have the actual, the stuff vectorized. Now we can create our N8N agent to talk to it. So I typed in N8N. We're gonna grab an AI agent. By default, we're having this triggered by a chat. Oh, we don't want the test manually. We want to trigger this by chat for now. So this is just part of taking the workflow step by step. We could have started at the front end where we had ElevenLabs and we're started connecting from ElevenLabs to an AI agent, then from AI agent to Pinecone. I wanted to work with the data first. So we have data in Pinecone. Now how do we talk to data? We're going to connect the AI agent to RAG. And then once we have this AI agent working with Pinecone, then we can switch out the input and the output to be ElevenLabs rather than N8N chat. Cool. So chat model, let's go with, I'm just going to go with 4.0. Actually, no, we'll stick with 4.0 mini. That one works. That's fine. Memory, we will go with window buffer memory. And then for tool, all we need to do here is its only function is to talk to data. We're connecting Pinecone. The operation is going to be retrieve documents as tool for AI agent, so we can keep that. And then this is just going to be, we'll call this FAQs. And we'll do the same thing. We'll do the same thing up here. So we got FAQs as the name. The description is call this tool to access. No, let's not call it FAQs because there's also policies. Okay. To access internal policies and FAQs. We can leave it as FAQs. Okay, no. We'll just call it company underscore policies will be good. it's not super important because in the N8N agent prompts, we're going to define when to call this tool. But sometimes it does help to have the tool being named pretty intuitively because then the agent can have that fallback. Anyways, the index, mine was sample, so I'm choosing sample limit. This is going to be how many results from the vector store are going to come back. For now, we're good with 4. If maybe you're seeing that data isn't coming through the way you want it to, you can get in the logs and check and increase that limit. And once we go through some runs, I'll show you what I mean when I talk about the logs and how we can see like step by step what the agent's doing. Include metadata is good. And then here, very important, we need to choose the namespace that we're retrieving from. If we didn't do this, it would be searching through the namespace called default, which as you can see, we don't have that anymore. So we need to configure the namespace of FAQs and telling it, okay, this is the namespace you're going to be searching for. And finally, once again, we just got to choose our embeddings. This is because our query basically gets embedded, short term gets embedded into the database, and then our query basically grabs the nearest neighbors of vectors and pulls them back, and that's what the agent uses for its context. All right, cool. So I think from here we're good to test it. We can hop into here and just ask about the hours of operation. We'll ask about hours of operation and holiday support, and then we'll set up the system prompt because I just want to see if it has the intuition to do that already. What are the company's hours of operation and holiday support policies? Okay, so it understood to go to the vector database. We got back company's hours of operation are as follows: Monday through Friday 9 to 6, and then weekend and holiday support limited to urgent issues. We also got a email for further support, a phone number, and then a live chat, which is pretty cool. We didn't even ask for that, so that's pretty intelligent, but that was pulled from right here, so that's cool. And once again, we don't have any system prompt in this agent, but cool. Let's go to the logs. So within the agent or with this new inline chat type of trigger, you can see the logs down here. I like to look at it in the agent because it's a little bigger. But we basically just have like the step-by-step of what the agent just did. So the first thing is it hits the window buffer memory. The input was, what are the company's hours of operation? And this is the message we just asked, so it throws that in the window buffer memory, so later it can reference it. Then it hits the OpenAI chat model. Its system prompt right now is just your helpful assistant. Normally, once we prompt it, it's going to read through that system prompt to understand what it needs to do, and then it looks at our actual message, and then it has an output. In this case, its output was it hit up the company policies database, which is hours of operation. So this is cool because it split up into, it sent 2 queries off to Pinecone, so we'll talk about that. But the first query it sent over was hours of operation. We see the output is it's pulling back these vectors. From there, we look at the embeddings. As you can see, this is what an embeddings look like. It has 1536 dimensions in here, so this should basically be 1,536 numbers. And then, as you can see, the other input here was holiday support policies. So this is, again, pulling back more vectors because this is the second query it sent over. As you can see, holiday support policies, because we basically asked a 2-part question. So same thing, it's looking through the embeddings, and then it pulls back finally the vectors, and then we get an actual output. So it's taking the vectors and then it's using its OpenAI chat model to turn this into this, which is the hours of operation and then further communication. And then finally, back to the window buffer memory where it inputs the actual answer right here, which is this is how it responded to us, and then this gets updated in the window buffer memory. So that's how it just worked. That's what it just did. Cool. We don't really, I don't think, need to add too much, like a super robust system prompt here, but let's just do something basic. I'm just gonna say overview, and I always like to just do like kind of markdown formatting to separate sections, mainly for me for organization and readability, but also I think the agent can tell like different sections. Anyways, overview, you are an internal like policy support rep. Your job is to answer the user's questions accurately and professionally. And then we're just going to give it tools, which is, what do we say? Company underscore policies. Use this tool to access the company's policies and FAQs. Don't make anything up. If you can't find the answer, just respond with, I don't know. Okay. So just a basic system prompt here. Let's try something out. Let's say I want to try to ask something that it doesn't actually know. So I'm going to say like, okay, how do I speak to human rep? What is your support policy on subscription cancellations? What if my product is damaged or defective? I'm having a hard time thinking of something that I wouldn't be able to find. It talks about refunds, right? Subscription cancellations. How do I cancel my order? I'm gonna ask if it accepts Venmo. And okay, so let's try something. Do you accept Venmo? And how do I cancel? How do I get a refund on a product? Not a refund on a product I bought last year. Okay, so we'll see what it does here. It may be able to just provide like a brief answer, but say we're not fully sure. Okay, so the company does not accept Venmo as payment method. Currently, the only methods are Visa, MasterCard, Amex, PayPal. Regarding refunds, refund requests must be submitted within 30 days. Items must be in their original condition and packaging. Digital products are non-refundable. And then it just gives us a support email. So I'd say it answered that pretty well. Now let's move on to the next phase, which is actually connecting this to our ElevenLabs front end to be able to talk to it. So yeah, we're going to hop into ElevenLabs here and we're going to set this guy up. So we're going to create a new agent. This is going to be ElevenLabs, conversational AI, new agent. We're going to do customer policies or company policies. We're going to start with a blank template. Okay, and I thought something was loading, but I have to click create agent for it to load in. There we go. So first thing we can do is see the voice. It's going to be using Eric by default, so we're good with that for now. This is really the main thing we need to configure is this agent page. So any additional languages, right now we're just going to keep it as none. We choose a first message for the agent to do when we start talking with it. So we just say, hey, oh my goodness. Hey, I'm Eric. How can I help you? Okay, so that's good. And right now the system prompt is your helpful assistant. It has the only tool it has is end call, which gives the ability to end the call with the user. Typically, if you delete this, it'll just be only the user can actually end the call. So we'll just leave that as is. And then you click test agent in order to actually chat with this guy. So we'll just test out, make sure the first message is working, just see the way that the agent's conversating, and then we are able to go in there and alter the system prompt a little bit if we don't like it. So I thought it should be making oh, okay, we didn't hit save. So you can see I didn't save the first message, so it was just gonna be waiting for us. Let's do that again. Hey there. Oh my goodness, why can I not type today? This is actually ridiculous. Hey there, I'm Eric. How can I help you? Okay, now we have to hit save. Cool, looks like that's saved. Test agent.
Hey there, I'm Eric. How can I help you?
Hey Eric, how's it going?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. How can I help you today?
What is your role?
I'm a helpful assistant, here to assist you with any questions or tasks you may have. Is there anything specific I can help you with?
Okay, cool. So he's talking, he's friendly, he's helpful, but he doesn't know what his role is, so we're going to define that. So your helpful assistant in charge of answering questions about internal company policies. So a lot of times what I like to do is just add things one by one, because if you start going in and throwing a ton of stuff at the agent, whether it's in voice or whether it's in N8N, and things start breaking, you don't know what broke it. So if you add in a sentence, test some stuff out, make changes, test some stuff out, make some more changes, then you know exactly what you can take away or what line helped, because then you start to understand patterns of like how you can construct these system prompts to make them more effective over time. So for now, let's just stick with this. We'll go test the agent again.
Hey there, I'm Eric. How can I help you?
Hey Eric, what is your role?
I'm here to answer your questions about internal company policies. How can I help you today?
Cool. Can you tell me about our refund policy?
I can definitely help with that. To give you the most accurate information, could you tell me what kind of refund you're interested in? For example, are you asking about a refund for a product or service or something else?
Okay, cool. So he understands its role. We have to basically give him the ability to extract a question from us and send that question to N8N. And so we're going to do that via webhooks. But before we get there, let's make sure that let's connect him to N8N. So also real quick, we'll talk about these other things. Dynamic variables. So we can insert variables in here just the exact same way we do it in N8N, where we use curly braces. That way the agent in ElevenLabs is able to fill in these variables. In this case, we don't really need to do that. All we need to do is tell it how to use its tool, which we'll set up right now. We have large language models right now. This one's the fastest. The LLM cost right now is covered by ElevenLabs, so now is a great time to get in there and test around. Temperature is basically just kind of the parameter that controls the creativity. It's kind of like the range of the responses that could be, because the way it works is like large language models are, when they are predicting the next word, it's just expanding the range of like what words could come next, rather than if you make it really small, it's going to be a lot less creative. So I usually like to go up here because I think it's more fun, but there are definitely some cases where you need to limit that range for sure. Token usage, knowledge base, this is where you could add, like we could technically add our Google Doc straight into here, and then it wouldn't have to be calling N8N and it would be working. But the idea is Pinecone, we can add more over time. We can have that be automated. We can have it be scraping something. And then it will also just be more efficient the more data that's in there. So that's why we want to do Pinecone. And now we have tools. So this is where the magic really happens, where we can allow ElevenLabs to actually connect to third-party things. What we're going to do now is add a custom tool. We're going to call this one N8N. And our description is to call this tool to send so it needs to use this tool when it is trying to, get a question answered. So call this tool to send the user's question. I'm trying to think of how to frame this. Call this tool to send the user's question over to N8N in order to get an answer. Okay, so we'll call this for now. We have to change this later, but now we need to set up the actual URL for this tool. We come back here into N8N, and we're going to add a webhook trigger. So webhook trigger is going to start this workflow. This is going to be a post request, because this is going to be the URL that we give ElevenLabs to send information to us here. I'm going to call this N8N. Respond. We want to respond with using respond to webhook node. So what we're going to do is drag this into the agent, and then once the agent gets its output, what it needs to do is use the respond to webhook node, which is basically just sending back this output right here that we get from the agent. It's going to be sending that back to ElevenLabs. So let's copy this URL, and remember, this is just a test URL. We're going to keep this in a test environment throughout this video. But anyways, then we can paste that URL in here. This is the webhook we just set up. Cool. So we have the webhook address. Now we need to set up the body parameters, because this is how ElevenLabs can actually send data to N8N. So at property, all we're going to be sending over is a question. And this is going to be the question the user needs an answer to. That should be good. And then this field will be passed into the LLM and should describe in detail how to extract the data from the transcript. So we're looking for extract the question the user is asking about company policies. Okay, we'll leave it as that. Okay, so that's our tool. We're gonna add it. So now we have N8N as a webhook. It's a tool. We need to explain in the system prompt for this voice agent when to call this tool. So for now, let's leave this simple. So your helpful assistant in charge of answering questions about internal company policies. Use the N8N tool to send over a question to N8N, to send over, let's say, the user's question to N8N. Then wait for the response from N8N. Okay, so we're gonna save this, and we're gonna test this out again in our test environment. So this is all saved. We have our tool. Let us make this so we can kind of see both at the same time. Okay, so we've got that. Let me pull up the voice agent again. There we go. Okay. Test agent. Save this. Test the workflow. This webhook has to be actively listening for us in order for this to work. So let's try it out.
Hey there, I'm Eric. How can I help you?
Hey, Eric, I've got a few questions for you today.
Sure thing, I'm here to help. What questions can I answer for you today?
Can you just tell me about our refund policy?
I'm sorry, it seemed like I'm having some trouble accessing the information you're looking for right now.
Thanks, Eric. Okay. So what we got to do is we can see stuff happen, right? So this is part of the process of building. Things break. It never works. You just got to figure out why it broke and how we can fix it. The first thing that we see is that our body request that we set up in ElevenLabs, if you remember right here, sorry, give me a sec. When we set up our body request within the N8N tool, we called the identifier question. So it's questions right here, and then it was able to extract what is our refund policy. So that worked. It's sending over data good. Our prompt is working right now. Our tool is working right now. We know that. Now we know the issue is coming from our agent. So what happened here is two things. The first one is we forgot to set up the user message coming in. So this shouldn't be JSON.chat input. As you can see, that's nowhere in here. What we want to do is define this below. And what do we want our agent to see? We want our agent to see the actual question that we're asking, which is this right here. So JSON.body.question, now it's getting our question, good to go. We also see we have another error, which is error in subnode window buffer memory. So what's going on in here? It has no session ID because it was trying to pull the session ID from our window buffer, or sorry, our chat trigger. So we're going to define this below. And actually, I don't think I had a session ID in our previous example with, why can't I move this thing? I don't know if you guys can see this little, there we go. Put it up here. So we're looking for potentially a session ID that we can use in here. What I think though is going on is that the ElevenLabs voice agent also has like a, what's it called? It has like its inline memory for each conversation. So maybe we don't even want this. But let me just see if we were to want to put this in here or how that would work, what we'd use is the session ID. So we have a key, right? The key to use to store session ID in the memory. So we want this to be something that associates us talking to this agent every time. So I wonder if we'd be able to throw on the host because that's always like Nate Herc. Let's just try that. I'm not super sure. We'll just try it. Test the workflow and get out of here. We'll see.
Hey there, I'm Eric. How can I help you?
Hey Eric, I've got a few questions about some internal policies.
Sure, I'm here to help with any questions you have about our company policies. What's on your mind?
Yeah, can you remind me about our hours of operation?
Our company hours are Monday to Friday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. local time. Weekend and holiday support is limited to urgent issues which should be submitted through the emergency contact form. Anything else?
Yeah, could you tell me about our refund policy for digital products?
Our refund policy for digital products states that they are non-refundable unless there is a technical issue that cannot be resolved. Refund requests must be submitted within 30 days of purchase, and all items must be in their original condition to qualify for a refund. Is there anything else I can help you with?
Nope, have a great day.
You too. Let me know if you have any other questions.
Okay, cool. So it ended the call. I didn't click the button, by the way. So it used its tool end call to end call because it realized we were done talking. I said, nope, have a great day. Cool. So let's take a look now at these executions. So the window buffer memory worked. We'll look at the logs and just make sure everything's okay. But anyways, this was our second interaction here, which is when I said, could you tell me about our refund policy for digital products? Send it to the window buffer memory. It looks through its system prompt, as you can see. It looks at its role, it looks at its tools. Excuse me. Then it sends off this to Pinecone, which was refund policy for digital products. Looks through embeddings, right? Comes back. The chat model looks through these vectors, looks through its system prompt, and then it responds, which is our refund policy for digital products states that they are non-refundable unless there's a technical issue, blah, 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 and then sends it off in our window buffer memory once again. So it logs that interaction. And then we can see the output was this, and this is what got sent over to our respond to webhook node. This is what Eric said pretty much. It might have used its large language model to refine this a little bit, but this is the direct output that got sent over to ElevenLabs. If we go to the previous execution, which was the first question we answered, or we asked Eric, we can see here that this time what we asked was what are the company hours of operation. In here, it's logs sent over to Pinecone company hours of operation. So that's how like the RAG aspect is working. And all it's doing is input from ElevenLabs, works with its tools, and then output back to ElevenLabs. So yeah, that's how this one works. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that's kind of important to understand or to know about this one. Let's see, I guess like if we flicked it into, made it an active workflow, we wouldn't be seeing this stuff happen, but we'd still be able to test the agent in here. So I guess we can do that real quick. So now it's an active workflow. What we'd have to do is we want to switch off this URL. So now we're using this production URL. We'll go into here. We'll change the webhook to now be the production one. All it's really doing is it just took out, there was a dash test right after this K. We'll save that. And we'll just do one more thing. Let's see back in the policies, what payment methods. I'll just ask how I reset my password or offer support in other languages. Okay, cool. So we've got some stuff to ask. All right, let's try it.
Hey there, I'm Eric. How can I help you?
Whoa, don't know what happened there, Eric, but can you tell me about what happens if I want to cancel my subscription or if I forgot my password?
If you want to cancel your subscription, you can do so at any time through your account settings. If you cancel mid-cycle, you will retain access to your subscription until the end of the billing period. If you forgot your password, you can reset it by clicking on the Forgot Password link on the login page and following the provided instructions. If you encounter any issues during this process, please contact support for assistance.
Cool. What do I do if my project is damaged or defective?
If your project is damaged or defective, please contact us immediately via email or live chat and include photos of the damaged or defective product. We will arrange for a replacement or refund based on your request.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, Eric. I have no further questions. Hello?
You are very welcome. Have a great day.
Okay, so to end the call, I don't know what that little stutter was. I think it was stuck on listening. It maybe thought we had more to say. But as you can see, that was production. We didn't have to come click on test workflow every time in between each question. We can go to executions, and we asked, I think, 2 total questions. So the first one, I'm assuming it sent off 2 different queries to Pinecone. As you can see, yep, 2 items. So the first question was the cancellation of subscription, and then the second one was forgot my password. And then the second time we asked question and it sent off sent off a request to this webhook. All it did was it asked about what to do if a product is damaged or defective. It got the word project rather than product. It was able to figure it out still because it pulled the line we were looking for. But now it's active. We switched out that webhook. We don't have to click test workflow every time, and that's how it works. So cool. yeah, I guess that one was. I hope that one was helpful. We'll do another one soon about the one that actually sends emails. It's a little bit different, just as far as like what you actually have to pass over to the agent, but not too difficult at all. So hope that one was helpful. Please let me know in the comments of this video what you thought. And yeah, thanks guys.